Hulu, y'all did y'all big one. Okay, we're gonna have to get into this father's betrayal, the psychology around it, so many different layers. But first, let me say trigger warning. This video may trigger some things in you, some things you've been through, some content that may be a little triggering. So let's get into it. Now you know your girl loves a good documentary, crime documentary. Ooh, and then you add the psychology, the childhood trauma, and baby, we got us a good one. Now, looking at this story, the betrayal of a father who seemed like ideally perfect, the perfect life, charismatic, but of course, you know, behind all that charisma, oftentimes is darkness. Yes, there is always darkness. Okay, not for everybody, but most of these stories. And then you add Utah. When I saw the Utah, I was like, okay, okay, am I surprised? Your sis was not surprised. Now, in the beginning of this documentary, okay, you see a man crying. And I'm like, where the tears at? Where the tears at? Let me rewind it. I did not see no tears. And I knew, oh, he's a master manipulator. He is someone who cons people with the fakeness. Okay? And so unfortunately, the story unravels where this woman who has been through her own childhood trauma, very parentified, having to take care of her mother, her siblings being parentified because her mom ended up having a chronic disease. And so she grew up in this situation where she was probably servicing others, probably had some people pleaser qualities in her, living a life where you are in the service of other people. Okay. And I think she might have been the baby. So that there's some dynamics there, wanting to be seen, trying to always look at me, not feel forgotten about. So keep that in mind as we move through this docuseries. Okay. So now she gets married. She falls in love with her first husband. And the first husband got issues, substance abuse, depression. He's very volatile. And she was very young. And so they get married very young. And I think people who have those younger relationships where it went from high school to marriage so quickly, and then you add on that trauma, some of those people who get married are trying to escape their household, looking for an outlet. And oftentimes the outlet is in another person. Okay, not really working on yourself, but find something to distract, escape, take you away from the things you are going through, the things that are hard for you. Similar to what we saw in the Sherry Pampini thing. Her and her husband found each other very young and got married very young. You see the correlation here. Also, Sherry had trauma. Okay, so they get married very young. It doesn't work out because you're too young to be married and you both have equal parts trauma. Okay, now she's a single parent at that point with 2 kids in her early 20s. And she's trying to live her life, have a job, provide for her kids. And this young gentleman comes to the bar that she works at and he wanted a milkshake. Okay, and over time, he tried to court her. She wasn't interested, but over time, he was able to court her. And they had the idyllic life in Utah. They had the house, they had the kids in sports, they had a third child, which was now the connection between them as a family. Now they have their child along with the 2 stepkids, and things progress and we're living a life. We inherit a business, but then darkness is always around that corner. Okay, because you have to think, can things ever be so perfect? I don't personally believe that everything can be perfect. There's always going to be a little bit of a crack here, but people search for and want perfection so much that they ignore the warning signs. They ignore the crack. Let me just shake it off a little bit, put some tape and some glue on it real quick, okay? Because I need this to work. And so over time, the perfect life, the perfect marriage starts to unravel. He becomes depressed, he pulls away, but then the pandemic happens and things get better. Okay, I'm giving y'all a quick synopsis. Okay, and then one day he's like, hey, can you really set up a Venmo account for me? Okay, I have this business that I'm doing. The customer wants me to do a Venmo account. Hey, set me up one real quick. Okay, she's like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm kind of busy. He calls back, I need that Venmo account. Where you at? sis, come on, I need it. She's like, why are you so frantic? What's going on? What he hiding? And to me, I was like, why was her initial thought that he's hiding something? Once again, there were probably some cracks there maybe she ignored, and they were starting to crack to the point where super glue was not working. Shit, Gorilla Glue wasn't going to work at this point. So here we have the iCloud, the thing people think is secure. Apple's always trying to get my money for. Upgrade your Apple account, upgrade your iCloud. Just a little $10.99, a little $5.99. You want that backup plan, right? And so she's like, what is really going on with this man and this Venmo account? Click, 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 click. Oh, a secret folder? What's it here? And there it was, the bomb dropped. Okay, and in that bomb, that file folder was some explicit photos of some of the things you see on Law and Order. And Olivia Benson and Stabler were not around to save the day. Okay, so unfortunately, she found out her husband had a secret life where he was engaging in explicit photos of minors. Yes, he was engaging in and looking at all these things. And even before then, the darkness in him started to arise where people noticed. He started drawing these very dark figures, very explicit photos of women. And people were like, what's wrong with you? You being weird. And he's like, I'm being weird. You're being weird. And so she sees this folder of photos. And so I'm watching it, and I'm like, my initial thought, maybe it's the mom in me, maybe it's the social worker in me, was like, if he got photos of other kids in there, he must have photos of my kids. That's just me. And I want to know what y'all might have gone there also, because I'm like, what would stop him from having photos of the kids that we have together if he got these random kids in here and he has access to my kids every day? But that's just my mindset. And so she's falling apart. She can't believe her eyes. And then she calls her sister. And so it's interesting how the family, or really her own side of the family, really was like, come be with us. We'll help you. Just send me the photos. Maybe it's a mistake, because the charm, the charisma of this man made them think, this can't really be him, right? Nah. My sister can't see what she just thinks she saw. Send me some screenshots. Oh, yeah, sis. Oh, okay. Now, the thing that irritates me, because y'all know I'm going to keep it real, was when I think it was the stepmother of the wife, and she wanted the silhouettes. Y'all need to get smart about these silhouettes, okay? Because you're in a silhouette. You want your identity held, but you want to be a part of the documentary, okay? I need y'all to not use your real name. You know, it's Facebook, it's Google, all these internet sleuths. You can't be in darkness doing I can't think of the word, a little, segment of the documentary, a confessional. You can't be doing a little confessional, blacked out here, your name across here, where you work at, where you live. It ain't gonna work. If you're gonna be somebody who's gonna be a part of a documentary, have them, mess up your voice where we can't tell the real voice, use a different name, and show you from the back. Or have the camera pointed somewhere that ain't directly at you, because everybody gonna know who you are, sis. They gonna look you up, okay? So the stepmom is like, yeah, it's for real, it's bad, big bad, okay? And so it's interesting to see how, through things unraveling, his side of the family tried to enable him. They try to, oh, just come over here. He's gonna stay with us for a couple days. Don't call the police. And his brother, the perpetrator's brother, I think was a cop his damn self. It says a lot about cops and protecting family members themselves. Your job is to protect the public. Your brother is a perpetrator. He had thousands of videos, all that stuff on his computer. And your initial thing was, come over here and let's just let it settle down for a little bit. Not about the victims, not about your own, at that point, what was it? His step nieces and nephew? It was more about protecting your brother. So that's something we have to think about, is when things come to the light, the people around who protect them from that light and want them to stay in the darkness and protect them. Not the victims, but protecting the perpetrators, okay? And so she gets the courage to me to call the police after having a panic attack, set him up, do a sting, all that, okay? He's in jail, okay? And then we get to the part where she took him back. Even after finding out that he had photos of her children, her daughter, she was in the house when some of these videos were taken. They were at Disneyland, okay, getting dressed. And he took photos and videos of them getting ready. Your own children. Now, he has been involved in these kids' life at that point. I want to say 15 years being a stepfather, and the love that child, the oldest stepdaughter, had for him, and the manipulation that he took advantage of her. Okay. But through it all, mama's guilt. Mama won the perfect life, had her continue to be with him. She took a break when he went to jail, but he kept writing letters. And I think it was, she said herself, she at that point wanted her perfect life. She saw it crumbling once in those cracks. And she's a fixer. She's always had to be the fixer in her life, fixing her mother when she was sick, being the fixer. Look at the role of how fixers, how they play in your life. Are you a fixer? And how detrimental it is to the relationships, your romantic partners, and how you show up in the world as a fixer. Okay. Now, even after finding out that her daughter was going through all this stuff, her daughter could not go to school, her daughter could not be seen in public, all the trauma of finding out that this man that you loved, you saw as your father, was secretly recording you, graphically recording you. Not only that, the things that you saw him viewing and watching, that is traumatic. But then to have your mama take him back, now I see that a lot. I've had a lot of clients whose parents found out a boyfriend, a family member, they daddy was physically inappropriate with them, intimate, things like that. And still the mama takes the person back, the boyfriend, and they all say, I will always choose my kids over a man. But at the end of the day, the victims become victimized again by their parents. And I'm not blaming her. I'm just giving the perspective as a therapist of the things that I see in my room, on my couch over there, of people having to deal with not only the initial trauma of this person taking their innocence, but now my mom doesn't believe me. My mom is still laid up with this man. And in this situation, she took him back for a while. It was the manipulation. He is a master manipulator. He was reading the Bible, he convinced her that he was going to change. And this was something that we could just, it'll go away. These urges, this need to watch these videos, it will go away. Okay. And she believed it. And I think a lot of people fall victim to the manipulation. But to me, I think about the hurt of that teenage daughter, the long-term effects of not trusting anyone. She trusted two people, her mother, and she also trusted her stepfather. And oftentimes when people trust those primary people and they disappoint you, oh, it's fuck the rest of the world. If I can't trust my own mama and daddy, then I for sure can't trust no fucking body else. And so we see how she's trying to testify in courts. She's trying to be brave. And I think it says she went to go live with her actual biological father who had his own issues. So it takes a lot to go from living with your mom, your stepdad, to now I guess I'm going to choose this guy over here who has his own issues. Okay. And I just want people to focus on the daughter. The mom is a victim too of manipulation, trusting too easily, moving too fast with this man. People have to really recognize and take a step back. How soon you introduce people to your kids? How soon introducing a romantic partner to your kids? What do you really know about this person? After 6 months, a week, some of y'all move them in after like how long? This man you just met, even a woman. Because women can get it too. Women can be perpetrators also. recognizing how soon you were introducing people to your kids. And there were red flags there. She woke up one night while she was in bed with him and I think her youngest, and he was pleasuring himself to videos. Not too far from them, but still, she stayed. So I want you guys to know that there are red flags there that oftentimes we don't focus on, we don't want to look at because my life I'll give up. Maybe it's something we could fix. Maybe my eyes were deceiving me, but trust your guts. Always trust your gut because you will end up in situations that you don't want to be in because you just, nah, that can't be it. And I wonder long term, I'm hoping that everyone involved in this who had to see those images, the mom, the daughter, the younger kids, her other kids, you know, and unfortunately, what was the sentence? Once again, don't do it again. He got 48 months and then what did 10 months? We're seeing over and over again these cases where the time, don't do it. It ain't enough. Not only that, he got out, he don't live too far from them. And he's probably gonna have unsupervised visits with the kids, the younger ones, the minors. Who at this point, I would think that they're probably, the younger ones are at least teenagers, maybe 15, 16. The oldest is probably an adult now, adult age. But yeah, it was just kind of like, oh, don't take any more photos. Don't pleasure yourself. Stop it. Okay, did you learn your lesson? Now get out of my face. I'm tired of it. These perpetrators don't get enough time. I'm tired of it. We have to do better. The system is not working for the victims. It feels like the system works for the perpetrators. Now, I wish all these cases were an episode of Law & Order where at the end they really did get the book thrown at them. Even though sometimes I'm pissed off at the end of Law & Order SUV also, SVU. But let me know, what do you guys think? This is a lot of people's stories. There are people watching this, watching that documentary who are doing the same thing to their kids, who got a secret computer, a secret phone. And there might be other people who listen to that podcast, Betrayal, find connection, decide, let me look into my husband a little bit more, my partner, but listen to your guts. But of course, you know, we can get into, I want to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. Do you think time was served? What do you think? What do you think about that mama taking him back and reading the Bible together? Does God save all? Does he? But of course, make sure you like, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.